it doesn't feel like anyone's trying to pursue justice in the name of my daughter. Because if that was the case, then why would they be trying to send him to prison? Their dad that's constantly in their life and has been in their life and doesn't have any criminal history or any domestic issues or any kind of issues. Like,
Right.
it just doesn't logically make sense. That's the trap that we fell in ultimately, is that we felt like we were helping them figure out like what happened to our baby, and they completely turned it around on us. I'm Tia Downey. This is my husband, Taylor Downey.
Hello.
We're the Downeys. We are originally from California. We moved to Arkansas in 2019, like right before COVID hit. Then we had our first COVID baby. And so we had Charlotte born in 2021. And then we had Paisley in 2023. Both of those were preemies. And so we had little NICU stays, and we fell in love with the NICU. It was an unfortunate circumstance, but
we made the most of it.
It was
great.
Very nice place in the hospital, and the nurses and everyone were great. And then most recently, July 2024, we had our fractured baby, as some call her. Harper, she was born Harper Hope Downey. She was born July 9th, 2024. She was my first full-time baby, like on time. I finally carried a baby to term, and I was ecstatic. I was so happy. I mean, we made it, and I had the dream delivery and my dream like golden moment. I got to hold my baby. She's not going to go to the NICU.
You got to stay with her.
Yeah.
It was incredible. It was everything that we missed out of our first two pregnancies or first two deliveries. And I mean, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Family coming to see them the next day, like all the girls together. It was just what we wanted and we needed really for any of our kids.
Well, it was just very healing, I think. So we have Charlotte, she's 5 now. Paisley's 3, and Harper is going to be 2
in like 3 weeks. You know, we're a very close-knit family. We spend a lot of time together. Our girls are absolutely obsessed with each other.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, in certain lights, this is like, it's fairy tale. We have everything that we want. Our kids love each other. Our kids love us. They want to spend time with us. They want to go do things with us. It's what you would really want out of a family.
Just this little thing looming over us.
Yeah, the current events are what have made life.
It's hard, but we hold on to the happy. Like, that's literally what gets us through everything, is these happy moments.
Even daycare drop-offs and pickups, those things were just like, felt like a dream this time last year. But you know, we've had our whole family back together for a year, almost a year now. It'll be a year in August.
Yeah.
And
this began, so Harper was born July 9th, 2024. We brought her home the next day from the hospital, July 10th. Everything for the first week was normal. I mean, we did the newborn checkup, and she was underweight. So that was the only concern. And so we made a plan with our pediatrician. And then on the early morning of July 19th, 2024, she was acting fussy. She was acting like a sick baby. And I can only say this as my experience as a mom. Prior kids, she was acting like sick. She was fussy. She could be calmed and she would eat, but it would just take a little bit more time. By 6 a.m., I think that's when we finally decided to take a temperature, and we did a rectal temp, and it was over 100.
It was between 100.3 and
100.6. I remember we called the nurse hotline, and obviously they said take her to the children's ER. We also took her older sister, Paisley, at that time, because she also had a fever. And so we just figured whatever, they both have the same thing. And we had Charlotte in daycare at the time, so we figured she just brought something home and unfortunately gave it to the 2 younger ones. So we went to Springdale Children's ER in Arkansas, and they triaged her pretty quickly since she was 10 days old, and they did tests on both the girls. Paisley came back positive with just the flu. Harper came back positive with an E. coli infection. right off the bat, that was like this direction where everything was going. Doctors were telling us, okay, she has an E. coli infection. That's pretty common in newborns. They got her on antibiotics, and I think she did have one bruise on her forehead. It was right here. They said it was just a hematoma, and the doctor had pushed on it, and she was like, it's probably just superficial, like a bump. Could have been from like sisters or something happening. And I did ask her to do a head ultrasound, and so they did, and it was clear. We all moved past that. We said it's fine. She got a lot of tests done. They did a liver ultrasound. That came back normal. Everything was really coming back normal. It was all day, and I held her in my arms, and I just remember her in that room in front of my eyes deteriorating. Really is the only way to like describe it. She was just losing her color, and I remember we kept asking for a doctor, and they kept saying, we'll have one come in, or they just had a different excuse. You know, they weren't rude about it, but it was very much like, we'll get there. You know, we're just waiting on a room to open up upstairs and all this. So when we got up to the room, the nurse was trying to take her vitals, and she was trying to ask me questions. And I just remember I could only stare at Harper on the hospital bed. She was white. She had gone white. It was the most awful moment of my life, hands down. And I screamed at the nurse a moment, and I used some foul language, but I just said, get me a doctor now. That did it. Doctor came in, and, you know, immediately she looked at Harper, could tell she wasn't breathing. And so she picked her up, and she brought her to her chest, and she started pounding on her chest.
Her back.
And calling codes. I don't know the codes. She was talking to everybody, and all the nurses, and all these nurses came in, and I mean, I was trying to ask her, like, is she okay? Is she breathing? And she was just like in her zone. And I had to leave the room after that because I was so certain that she was gone. And then they brought her back down to the critical care in the ER. That's when they told us that she had sepsis and that she was septic. She was going to need a higher level of care, and so she was going to need to be airlifted to ACH in Little Rock, Arkansas, which is, I mean, we only have one children's hospital in Arkansas, and that is the one that has like the highest level of care, and they have a NICU, and they have a PICU, and all the surgeons. So we said, okay. And so they took her on the helicopter. We took our kids to grandma's, got situated, went back down to Little Rock, met her there in the PICU. By then she was, I mean, we couldn't touch her at that point. We weren't allowed to hold her or touch her. She was, I mean, in a very elevated position, and she had all the tubes. And 24 hours later, early on the morning of the 21st, the nurse noticed that her abdomen was distending. They did x-rays and scans, and they noticed that she was exhibiting signs of essentially a bowel perforation. And so she was going to need emergency surgery, a laparotomy. Afterwards, the surgeon spoke with us, and he told us what he found. And he said that he found 12 centimeters, I think it was, of a necrotic intestines, the small intestines, and 2 small mesentery defects. And I asked him, what were the, like, what are those, or what are they from? And he said that they were congenital. And I specifically remember this conversation because I specifically remember not knowing what that meant. Unfortunately, I have to say that, but I didn't. And so I had to ask him what that meant. And then he told me that meant that she was it formed in utero. She was born like that. The dead part of the bowel was taken out. So now it just required,
another surgery.
It would require some healing, and then we would do a reverse ostomy and sew her intestines back together, basically. And it wasn't enough that they were concerned about any long-term health problems or anything. It wasn't enough of her intestines to have died. So we thought that was it. We thought we were just on the up of recovering, yeah, and just trying to manage our 2 younger kids who by that time had also come back to Little Rock with us because grandma couldn't handle them for very long. And so we were, I mean, juggling life in a hotel and the hospital, and just trying to live through that. And then on July 22nd, it was the very next day after she had her surgery. they did a CT scan. And that's when we were met with a child abuse pediatrician. She sat us down and she told us that the CT scan had found rib fractures, non-displaced rib fractures, and a liver laceration, a grade 2 liver laceration. And that we seemed like very great parents and loving parents, and surely nothing was wrong, but this was just protocol, and that she had to place a call to the hotline. And that was terrifying. I mean, we've both have no convictions, no law, like history with the law, no issues. We've never, I mean, other than like a ticket, maybe like a parking ticket. I've had a parking ticket, but we've never had any kind of like legal issues.
Like the first time being even talked to by police.
At that point, we're just parents. We didn't do anything, and we're like, okay, do what you have to do. Whatever protocol is, let's just go through this and let's see it through. I mean, we didn't do anything. There's obviously
let's check your boxes.
That's what they will find. And we'll be open and transparent. And we were. This all happened in the hospital. We were met with detectives from our local city, and they came and they spoke to us both, but separate. My interview, I did it with my 2 younger kids. I did it with Charlotte and Paisley in the room, and it was very short. And then yours was longer that night.
It was like maybe 45 minutes or an hour.
They questioned again on the 26th. They singled out Taylor because they never talked to me again. They questioned him for 2 hours, and I mean, was just up and down of what do you think happened. And he even said in his interview, if y'all are questioning or looking at us, that's fine, but you need to look at the hospital too, because she has been through thousands of hands since we've been here and since this has been found. That was completely ignored.
The questioning went on for a very long time. And after I was done with questioning,
the detectives had even told him in his interview, we don't think you did this. There's no way, like, I've been talking to you and you don't seem like the kind of guy that would do this. We said yes to everything because we quite literally had nothing to hide. The detectives came and then they arrested Taylor. So, I mean, it was a 3-day investigation, if that, and they had arrested him on first-degree domestic battery. And they put him in jail. I remember afterwards, I was still in the hospital with Harper, and that same detective called me on the phone too. And he was like asking me more questions. And I was so livid. And all I could say was, are you kidding me? Like, first degree? He was like, he should have known better. Anyways, I stopped talking to him. That's kind of where we've learned the hard way. You don't talk to detectives without a lawyer. From there, DHS was involved. They came. But DHS is like the
Child Protective Services for Arkansas.
Yeah. So they opened a case, and what we hear from this experience is usually that is the difficult part, and that was the easy part for us, is that they closed their case with us within 6 months of opening it.
Which is unheard of.
They typically try to keep it open minimum a year. Because, I mean, they were in our house every day. I kept custody of all 3 of my girls. They never left me. They never went to a foster. There was a no contact order. So Taylor got out of jail. I bailed him out with all 3 of the girls. So he couldn't see or talk to any of them. They couldn't watch videos. He couldn't send them videos. He couldn't
talk to them on the phone.
I mean, it was
a letter.
Quite literally like their dad just disappeared. That was a tough time, because I had to hold my babies at night as they literally cried for their dad. And I'm trying to hold my own tears back. Again, I just feel like through this whole process, we just kept saying like, okay, we're just going to do whatever they tell us and what they're asked, like whatever is asked of us. Because all we want is our family. We just want to be a normal family with our girls. That's all we were. That's all we are. That's all we would ever be. Yeah, DHS closed their case. They left it with reunification as the goal. That just left us remaining with the criminal, like the criminal side, the criminal court. And that is where we're kind of at right now today. We've gone through a few public defenders because we're that's the other, I think, hurdle we're facing is the financial constriction. It really limits what we can do. I mean,
Well, it even limits like our ability to to speak with our lawyer. We can only speak with him through like we can only meet with him over a phone call. It has to be an appointment. Like with if we had an actual lawyer, defense attorney, we could call them at any point in the day if we had questions or anything. And it's
well, but and we're going through multiple because they keep leaving. Like there's like a new prosecutor or a new public defender on our case because they're just going in and out of their doors. I guess there's a turnover rate. But
partially, that's how long we've had this case open. 2 years. We've gone through 3 public defenders and now on our 3rd prosecutor.
We have made progress, though. We did make progress with we did file a motion to modify the no contact order to a no violence order. And so the judge, thankfully, did rule in our favor and he was allowed to come home. So he's been home since then, and we've just been, it feels like stuck in this limbo is probably the best way to describe it. Because, I mean, DHS didn't have a problem with us or him, and I mean nobody else has a problem. It just feels like there's
it's paperwork, or it doesn't feel right. It just feels like these people are just doing it to do it. And the people that actually had the most interest in this situation, which were the people that were looking after our kids, DHS, they were the ones that had the least worry in the situation. The prosecutor has never even met my family. They've never met. They've seen my wife, they've seen my kids, but they've never actually seen our life. And it's just tough.
I think we're right now hoping to I know we've narrowed it. We have talked to some local neonatologists. Like, so when we spent that time in the NICU, we made some friends with the neonatologists and the nurses there because they were great. And so she was able to come to the conclusion that what most likely happened was she was born with those congenital defects in her mesentery. Basically, it was like a ticking time bomb as soon as she started her feeds. When she was born, she started feeding. That kind of makes sense to us because that aligned with what the surgeon had originally told us too at ACH, was that they were congenital. We have not gotten to the point where we have gotten official review of her scans. I don't know how this fell on us when she was in the hospital by that time for 3 days. And it was so.
No, the problem was there was never an alternative diagnosis. It was just like they started with trauma and abuse and never looked away from that. I mean, and throughout all of this, we've really just been trying to be our damnedest, trying to create and keep a sense of normalcy for the girls. Other than the normalcy aspect, we're just trying to remember the happy points. And like we have had to remind ourselves when things have gotten really bad that like Harper she's fine. She's great. She's happy. She's healthy. She's bouncing around. She's
loud.
She's loud. She's crazy.
We have a miracle baby. She's
Hey, I'm patting ourselves on the back because it has to do with our genetics too. She pulled through because she's a strong kid.
No, that was on her own. That's on her own.
She's a strong kid.
But I think she's meant for something big in this life. Like
No sepsis, E. coli, perforation taking her out. All we want people to know about our family is that we love each other. We care about each other, and we want nothing more than to just be together and grow together. And honestly, I mean, between she and I, we would love to grow our family, but this has been a big roadblock. You know, we want to have another kid, and this is just we can't get in that mindset right now with all of this going on. So I guess what we want people to know about our family is that like we're just loving. We love each other, and that's all we want is to be together and not have any of this looming over our heads for any reason, for any length of time.
Yeah, we crave that normalcy back in our lives of not having any court dates or
meetings with your public defender, whatever.
I think it's scary to how quickly that it could happen to anybody. So to me, I mean, I just feel like they just turned this thing into something so sinister and nasty. And it was like we had a sick baby. We were good parents. We did what we were supposed to do. We brought her into the hospital. We did our part. We did what we were supposed to do.
And
And I
to the extent of helping the doctors and helping the investigators, we did everything in our power to find what had happened,
yeah.
and they did everything in their power to turn a blind eye.
And I
And
think that, I mean, we're not going to stop. I'm not going to stop fighting for our family ever. I mean, that's all I have is my girls, my husband. That's my family. It's my reason. So
that's it. I like that. That's my reason.